I think we're live. Hello. Hi, friends. Aiden from Hush Hush Photography and Film here, in case we have never met. This is a pretty last minute live stream announcement, so I'll be impressed if we even get one person showing up. But anyways, I'll just reshare this on my Instagram and stuff, so even if no one tunes in, then that's cool. I don't mind. But anywho, I thought that I would talk to you guys a little bit about albums and the album sale that Hush Hush has going on right now. Now, I'm not gonna take too long to talk about albums because I don't want this to feel like no one voluntarily goes to like those timeshare seminar things in Florida, like to get discounted Walt Disney World tickets or anything like that. So I don't want you to feel like you're just being sold to. Otherwise, I don't think anyone would show up. But I did want to show you just a photo album and kind of talk a little bit about why I think they're so awesome and why I think you might enjoy them as well. So this is not a wedding album. This is an album of our kid, our daughter, Betty. When Leo was born, we made a photo album of the photo shoot that we got with him. And we got one made up for Betty as well. And so we are massive advocates for printing your photos. And that's why we're having a sale on albums right now. So anywho, a couple cool things about our albums. This is a 10x10 hardcover photo album. What's cool is we design you a nice front cover there. Put your names, your wedding date, or your engagement session photo, whatever. Put something nice on the front there. And then, obviously, you open it up. So right off the bat, it is a hardcover 10x10 album. So that is really cool that it ages really well. So this one is fairly fresh because we had this photo session done I actually think it was February, even though January. I don't know. Maybe it was January. I don't remember. Anywho. Thanks for stopping by, Berkeley Events blog. Appreciate it. Anywho, highly advocate for printing your photos. Really advise that you do that. Looking at photos on a screen is nice and the internet is great, but having a physical printed copy of your photos is super important. So this is a 28-page book. If you're just joining me now, it's nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I'm not gonna preach at you for too long because I don't want you to feel like this guy's just trying to get my money. So don't worry if you're thinking about leaving. Anywho, what's cool about these books, among many things, is that they are rigid pages inside. I don't know if you can hear me slapping the page there. But essentially, what that means is over the course of time, this is going to age better. When you have, thin paper pages, they just, get wrecked and bent and dog-eared and stuff really quickly. One of the other really cool things about these albums that I really want to show off is the fact that they are lay flat pages. So as you can see, I'm holding the book and it's, a flat seam here, which means that you can print right over the center of the album. So that is really cool. Basically, it lets you do things like this where you can have one giant photo taking up the whole page. It also just works out well in certain circumstances where the layout, I'm trying to find an example, where the layout of your spread also has images that cross the center. And you don't have to worry about that. A lot of photo album manufacturers out there, when you start getting into high-end albums like this, they do that. But a lot of the cheap stuff like Shutterfly and stuff like that don't do this. On top of that, you might have been able to see there's kind of a reflective coating. So these are glossy pages, which means the colors are really nice. But overall, they repel oils from your fingers really well. So again, we have albums that are a couple years old. This one's fairly new, but a couple years old. And when you open them up, you don't see fingerprints and smudges. I am not proud of the fact that I've spilled drinks all over some of our albums before. But you dry them out. I don't advocate for this, so definitely don't go do this. But laid it all out, dried it out. And the album turned out just fine. So that's another little good thing there. Was there any other real talking points that I had about the albums? I mean, that's kind of the bulk of some of what makes these albums great. I wish that you could hold this in your hands because when you feel how heavy this album is, it's a serious album. And this is just our 28-page album, which is definitely on the lighter side of things. We do offer, like, you can add on spreads, pages. This is like a 56 or 58 page book. So this one, man, like, the weight difference is massive. So this is a gigantic one. Again, this was from a trip that we did, so this is not a wedding album, but this is just a photo album we made for ourselves because we really advocate for printing your photos. But this guy, again, everything that I just said about the other albums that make them so great, completely apply for here too. One of the other cool things specifically about ordering albums through Hush Hush is that everything is professionally designed. So a lot of inexpensive album manufacturers, they have kind of like software on their website like, hey, come and lay out your photos here, but you don't get a lot of the different options and variables that you have when laying out an album professionally with a professional. So anywho, highly recommend get your albums printed. If you want to do it through us, that's really cool. Support our family. Please feel free to do so. Go to hushhushphotofilm.com/albums and you can do that. But anywho, that's kind of what our albums look like. Again, this is the 28-page book, and the 28-page book is on sale for another 4 days and 11 hours and 37 minutes at the time that I'm recording this, as are all of our other books. But the 28-page album is usually $505 plus tax, and it is on sale for $375 right now. Our 40-page album, which is somewhere in between these two thickness-wise, it's on sale for $450 right now. It's usually $625. And then our last one, Big Kahunas, this is like a 56 or 58 page book, but our 50-page book is on sale for $550, regularly $725. So that's kind of what the albums look like. Someone I had a client ask just before ordering, is shipping included? And yes, shipping is included. So on top of the number there, you just pay tax and that's it. And then the album will arrive right at your door. We email back and forth, lay you out a beautiful album. And then, these really good Christmas gifts for your parents, especially if, they contributed in any way to your wedding. It's a nice way to thank them. Even if it's been a couple years since you got married, it's still okay. It took us a little while to order our wedding album, but it's super fun. We pull these off the shelf all the time. We have these scattered around our house, and we're constantly flipping through, just looking at photos of our life, because, printing wedding photos, great place to start, but highly recommend just print lots and lots of photos all the time. There's different services that will print photos that you take on your phone. Sign up for some of that. Print your photos, people. Even if it's not through me, that's fine. Just print your photos. All right, cool. I don't see the need to drag this out any longer than it needs to be. So I'll just answer a couple questions that came up, and then tease you guys with a couple of cool announcements from Hush Hush. So if someone had asked, what is the most recent movie you have watched? Last night, actually, I finished watching Alfred Hitchcock's movie Rear Window. I think it was 1954 or something like that. I can't remember. Look up the year. It was different. I watched it. That was actually the second time I watched it, with James Stewart and Grace Kelly. The movie itself is okay. James Stewart's just like a little bit old, and the age gap just bugs me, because in that movie Grace Kelly is like all over him, and he's like, yeah, I don't really know that I want to settle down. It's like, are you kidding me? Who would not want to settle down with Grace Kelly? But anywho, that's what I've watched recently. Then I've got a couple more. I watched Casablanca recently in 1942. Classic, black and white. I realized the other day that watching old black and white movies really kind of relaxes me. It makes me feel like the stress just melts away a little. So I've made it a goal to try to watch more old movies, like 40s, 50s, 60s era movies, because I find them really relaxing. Favorite music albums of all time. Oh, that's a tough one. You could say a lot of different. The first one that's coming to mind anyways is City and Colours, Bring Me Your Love. That is a phenomenal album. Almost every song in there is just perfect. I could listen to that album over and over and over. Another album of all time. Man, I don't know why I didn't prepare for this. Or, like, yeah. Huh. I don't know. That's a tough one. I would say I really like mid 2000s emo and punk rock. Let me just pull up my Spotify here. I could find us some top albums pretty quickly. I would say and I don't know if it's like one of my top albums of all time, but an album I really really love is yeah, Good Charlotte's The Young and the Hopeless. That's just a classic album. Man, I'm trying to think of what other albums are like. Oh, The Killers, Sam's Town. That's got to be up there for me. And I don't know if it's cheating to say Blink-182's greatest hits, but those are definitely albums that I've played over and over and over many 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 times. So yeah, I'll leave it at those. If you don't know any of those, you should check them out. Where did we come up with the names for our kids? Good question. Leo, we have no idea. Leo, when did we had that name like shortly after we got married. We were like, oh yeah, if it's a boy, Leo. And we have no clue where that name came from, so I couldn't even tell you. But the name Betty is actually from the TV show Mad Men. And Betty Draper is one of the characters who looks an awful lot like Grace Kelly. Come to think of it, I'm sure she was modeled after her on some level. But yeah, Betty Draper. She's not like morally an outstanding character to model your life after, but to me, she's like the classic like 1950s definition of just like American beauty. And I thought that would be a really great person, a really great aspiration. And okay, last question we got was, why are you called Hush Hush? Okay, to give you the quick version of the story, back in like 2012 or something, when Leanne and I, yeah, it would have been 2012, when Leanne and I were dating, we were going to an Owl City concert, and I wanted to bring my camera and go like get into the press pit anyways. And so I was going and Leanne was going, and Leanne was my girlfriend. I wanted her to be able to join me in the press pit, even though like I wasn't going to do anything with these photos. We were just going to have fun. And so I was emailing, I don't know, the record label, I don't know, somewhat like management or something. And they're like, I was like, I got approved for my own, just what a weird time to burp. Got approved for my own press pass. And then I was like, oh, cool, can I get a second one for my friend who's also a photographer? And they were like, oh, yeah, just send us her website, no problem. And so at that point, I was like, uh-oh, Leanne doesn't have a website. She's just my girlfriend, right? So I made up a fake website called Hush Hush Photography by Leanne Nechtel. And sent that along, and Leanne got a press pass too. And it didn't make a difference because there was no press pit at this venue. And so, anyways, we did get to bring in our cameras and take photos, so that was nice. But then on top of that, so that's kind of like officially where the name Hush Hush came from, was it was just like this fake name that we used to get in to a concert with our cameras. And then when Leanne and I decided to make our business, it kind of just stuck. But then besides that, it also kind of harkens back to when Leanne and I started dating. We went to Emmanuel Bible College in Kitchener, which is a very small college, like smaller than most high schools, smaller than my high school, and I went to high school out in the country. And so when Leanne and I were dating, we used photography, or I used photography as an excuse to kind of get her to go out with me. Like, oh yeah, let's go and I'll teach you like light painting and how to take photos at night and cool stuff. And so while we were doing that, we started dating. We wanted to kind of keep things quiet and not super public, because again, our college was very small, so everyone kind of knew each other's business really quickly. Word got around really fast. And so at the time, we kept things very quiet. We decided to, keep things hush hush anyway. So Hush Hush, the name, kind of has the double entendre. I don't know if I was starting a new photography business in 2020 that I would have a name like that. I maybe would just go with my name. There's pros and cons to both avenues of choice there. I don't really know what one is better than the other, but anywho, stuck with it now. Hush Hush has been around since 2012, so I feel like to change it now would just be really difficult. I also feel like remembering Hush Hush is easier to remember than spelling my name Aiden Hennebree, So that I also have that going for me. Cool. So those were some Q's and some A's. In terms of announcements, 3 things just to hit you with real quick. One is actually a teaser of an announcement because it's not really an announcement quite yet. But sometime probably in the new year, I'm going to be launching something called an electric session. Electric session. And all I'll say right now is it's kind of like a portrait session, but like way cooler and very different in a lot of ways. And just, yeah, anyways, I'll kind of leave it there. I don't want to say too much, but be on the lookout for an electric session announcement sometime in the future. I think that is going to be really, really, really cool. The second announcement real quick is that I'm actually going to be on Sam Hurd. If you know who Sam Hurd is, if you're in the wedding photography industry, Sam Hurd, his Insta handle is at IamTheSam. Yeah, he's a really talented wedding photographer out of the US. He was the guy that like pioneered prisming and free lensing, and anyways, he's starting up a new podcast, and I'm gonna be one of the guests on it, so that's really cool. So we're gonna be recording that sometime next week, and I have no idea when it'll go public or how to share it, but you can watch for more stories about that. So that's the second cool thing. And then the last thing is starting in 2021, Hush Hush is going to be kind of taking mini sessions and more affordable sessions a little bit more seriously. So if you know me personally outside of just like Instagram, I guess, you would know that affordability is something, and kind of accessibility to a lot of people is something that's really important to me. And I totally get that photography, almost of any kind, is a luxury. It really is a luxury in a lot of ways. And so charging $400 to $500 to $700 to $1,000 for like photos, just because I get that most people can't afford that, or that it's hard to justify the cost for that. As a result of that, I think a lot of people go long periods of time without hiring a photographer to capture photos of their family. By the way, these were done by our good friend Carolyn of Pure and Lovely Photography. So shout out to her. Look her up on Instagram. Go follow her. She's super talented. I'm a photographer and I hired her, so I should tell you something. But anywho, mini sessions, affordability, really, really something that's near and dear to my heart. And so recently, Leanne and I sat down. We came up with some cool ideas about how to make photography, hush hush photography and film anyways, more affordable to more people, while still earning enough money to pay our mortgage and not undercutting other photographers or undercutting my own business. So keep an eye out for that. Mini sessions are going to be something that you're going to be seeing and hearing from me a lot more in 2021. And mini sessions are not necessarily just portrait sessions or family sessions. They can also be headshot sessions. They can be a session for your small business, a branding session or something like that. There's a lot of different ways that you can utilize a mini session to get some nice photos of yourself by someone who knows a little something about operating a camera. Anywho, this has been fun. Thanks for hanging out with me for 20 minutes or so. Yeah, if you have any questions, if you want to order an album, I should say that the link is in my bio. It's on our website, hushhushphotofilm.com/albums. The sale is only happening until Monday at midnight. So that's 4 hours, 11 minutes, 4 days, 11 hours, 25 minutes, and 7 seconds from right now. So go get on that. Anywho, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for stopping by, friends, and we'll chat soon.